video and music, not just MTV. I mean, that's kind of old and played out. I mean, everybody's talked about that over the past decade. But with the advent of U2 coming to these large stadiums and doing shows with videos behind them that they've created, and R.E.M. did the same thing. Are you interested in that? Do you think it kind of messes up the music? Or?
No. It's up to the artist. I mean, that's just sort of, I think, just something U2's doing this year, and they're into like this huge spectacle, and so it's like it's no different than like Pink Floyd in the '70s, or even like Kiss's influence in the '70s. As far as I'm concerned, it's just more sort of high tech and modern.
And Laurie Anderson was doing it a long time ago.
There's a lot of people that work with video.
Yeah, it matters how you. Yeah, that's true. It matters what you want to do.
So you don't think that it's like an addition or a detraction? It's just.
No, we're totally into like visual art as far as like going with music. I mean, I have nothing wrong with that. The reason we make videos is because we're really interested in it. That's our primary reason, not because it's like a retail tool to use on MTV to sell our records. I mean, that's what it's used as by the record company, but we make them as with as much content as possible as far as.
So you reconcile that by doing it as the most creative way you can. I mean, I'm sure people are very what do you call it, critical, it seems like, of musicians who, oh man, you're selling out, you're putting your video on MTV, and they made you do it, and it would be hard, it seems, to reconcile, doing that and not doing it and not being a part of the whole video age. Or
those people who criticize should show us how to do it correctly. Judge.
It's kind of like those who don't do bitch, and those who do create.
It's a total open field. I mean, we never think of ourselves. We don't, you don't lock yourself into anything, as far as like being a musician. I mean, you should be able to be free to do whatever you want to do. I mean, if you feel right about it.
What excites you the most then about being a musician, being in the field that you're in? Is it what are you into the most?
Just that liberation, that freedom, And the thing that's most aggravating is when periphery around you or whatever tries to contain it or guide it one way or the other for its own, needs, which we try to, dissuade as much as possible. But being, it's being able to do what you've always wanted to do and to be recognized for it. I mean, we're luckier than most people, because we don't do it competitively. We just do it.
Do you think bands that do make it to triple platinum albums that were once alternative bands like R.E.M. or Nirvana, do you think they lose something in that journey? I mean, do you think you've maintained something by being true to yourself and saying, well, screw the commercial aspect of it, we don't care if we ever play, headline at the Dome? Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, I don't think R.E.M. or Nirvana ever sold out their intent. I mean, I just think it's all happenstance. I mean, it's sort of, a lot of it's fluke, a lot of it's sort of accessibility. I mean, we're much weirder than both those bands musically. And so, I mean, it's just obvious that we're never going to, go multi-platinum. I mean, we could decide amongst ourselves, like, well, let's kind of cop the Nirvana R.E.M. thing and play more accessible music.
There's just a theory that once they get to that stage, they're pandering to the kind of the lowest common denominator. And I don't know, I was just curious how you feel about that.
Well, I mean, it's just up to the individual. I mean, it matters, we're all different.
Just play music.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like,
Well, in Nirvana's case, they made a record, and they made the record that they were going to make, no matter if it sold as many as a Sonic Youth record or what it ended up selling, several million. So they didn't know how many it was going to sell. So I can't think, you can't say that they're pandering to anyone. They just, they went out and did it. And, it's up to their next record to see what they'll do next.
I think the 90s, though, is much more of a blend of alternative kind of fringe rock and roll that has always been sort of underground and not heard of by very many people, and the kind of music that's like big corporate rock. I mean, I think there's a lot more bleeding over these days than there used to be. I don't know if it's because of MTV or what.
Yeah, there's a whole lost history of 15 years of American music and other music that people are just starting to find out about.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, there's a band called the Minutemen that exists in the early 80s. I mean, if they existed now as they did then, I mean, they would have more of a chance of being recognized, like, on a national scale, like in like bigger numbers than they ever were. I mean, it's just weird. I mean, never mind the Bollocks didn't sell anything. It didn't even chart. It just went gold last year. Which is really strange because that's like one of the most influential records in the whole underground scene. You think about it.
All right, we're gonna get back into some music from Dirty.
Tickets away yet, did we?
No, we didn't.
I think anybody answered those
Yeah, no one knew
questions. So I
those
do an easier question. Because that is, I guess those were kind of
If you can answer the first questions, we will give you the tickets. The first one was, say the first two questions in there. Somebody might know. We've got a good audience. I just haven't, I've answered the phone like once. We got to talking again, so. Can you remember the questions?
Well, yeah, what was Darby Crash's name that he used on the first Germ single, Forming? And what was the name of the Atlanta hardcore band, Mission 4? What was the third word in that?
Okay, so give me a call if you know the answer to the trivia questions provided by Mr. Thurston Moore, who's here from Sonic Youth, and Lee and Steve. And you will win a pair of passes to go see the show tonight at the International Ballroom. And Superchunk opens. This is Delia, and thank you guys for coming in. Appreciate you talking to us. And can we expect anything next?
I expect my relatives to show up tonight. My Aunt Peggy teaches down where does she teach? In
Buckhead.
Buckhead. She teaches at some school in Buckhead.
So she'll be front row, thrashing it out.
She'll be there. She just got married.
Congratulations. What's her name?
Peggy Fairchild.
Congratulations, Peggy.
You want to talk about the movie?
Yeah, we'll talk about the movie, but also my cousin Allison Kloster. I'd like to say hi to her, and Greta Sandberg.
Grandma.
I'd like to shout out to my cousin Bob and his wife Maggie.
And my dog's at home. Hi, Fido. It's nice to see. Tell us real quick about your movie. You're doing a movie?
The year that grunge broke.
Yeah, 10th anniversary of grunge. Oh, no. It's called 1991, The Year Punk Broke. It's a movie we made last summer during, like a year ago, we went to Europe. And we had Nirvana along with us. It was right before their album came out, so they were still just sort of like a band then, not a phenomenon. And we played all these festivals in Europe. I suppose one of the more famous of which is this Reading Festival in England. And so it was us and Nirvana, and we played with a bunch of other bands that we like Dinosaur Jr. and Babes in Toyland, and the Ramones and Gumball. And we turned it into a movie based on footage made by a friend of ours named David Markey, an LA Super 8 filmmaker. And it's going to be in theaters, and it's going to be on video, and it should come out in a month or two. And
Well, thanks. We're looking forward to it. So what's it going to be called again?
1991, The Year Punk Broke.
1991, The Year Punk Broke. And thanks for the scratching there on the John Cage album. Let's add a little spice to the show. This is Sonic Youth, and thanks, guys. We'll see you tonight. And this is Teresa's Sound World from their latest CD. Dirty. Oh, my gosh. Somebody just dropped something on the John Cage album. Okay. Album 88 is WRAS.